Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms, and I've got a big pile of dirt and rock that I need moved from up on top of Rock Hill down into what I call our dry pond. And I've been needing to get that job done, and the skid steer is the perfect machine for it. But I also have this larger ag tractor here this week, and I thought if I'm going to be moving it anyway, why not use this machine for a while and then switch to that one and compare how well they perform at pushing into a hardened pile of material like that. And I've actually announced to you guys already that I have 3 more tractors that are going to be delivered in the next few days that are for comparison. So I can compare this ag tractor in a 55 horsepower to a compact tractor at 55 horsepower, to my little tractor, to this tractor, all doing the same exact work. And this isn't really an apples to apples comparison. This machine's made to move dirt. This one's made to do farm work. And we've also got a horsepower difference, about 20 more horsepower on the skid steer and about $20,000 extra price on the skid steer. But if I'm moving the dirt anyway, we might as well try to put some perspective on what these machines are good at and what they're not good at. So if I'm going to compare, I need some way to standardize it. And my plan is to put the same bucket on each machine, so that there's no difference in the amount of material that's being carried, or one bucket's better for pushing into a pile or anything like that. Try to standardize it as much as I can. And then I'm going to standardize the time and see in 30 minutes how many loads of dirt can I move. And that way, by timing it, I can repeat it for every machine that I get access to on the property, including my little John Deere compact. Okay, so this is the dirt I want to move. It is dirt and rocks and fill that I believe the previous owner took off of the property when they built the house and they built the shop and they had to excavate for that. I believe they took all that material and just lined it up here. It's like 6 foot tall, pretty wide, not super wide, but it runs a long way down this property, at least 100 feet that I can see. And I'd like to move it all, but today we're going to do 30 minutes with the skid steer right here, and then follow it with 30 minutes with the New Holland. So most of you are probably aware that I have this skid steer listed for sale, but it's not sold yet. I'm still using it, as you can see here. But now every time I get in the seat, I start to think about how much I'm going to miss this machine when it's gone. It is just perfectly designed for specific tasks like this, and grading, and it's just a powerhouse that I never have to worry if my machine can handle a certain project. So I'm really going to miss it, but I do look forward to seeing how a larger tractor is going to compare. You can see that I'm able to push into this at the base, and even though the tracks do spin some,
It's not a whole lot, and it's not digging holes or tearing up the ground that I'm driving on. The area I'm driving on is still pretty much smooth and flat as I work.
Okay, so it was taking me just barely over 2 minutes to make a round trip, and the amount of time it takes to drive back and forth is probably irrelevant for most use cases, but for me, I spend a lot of time taking stuff from here down to the other spot where I'm filling in, and it's just one more thing to compare. So on this, I wanted to grab material off the pile and pull it down, but the loader doesn't stick out far enough for that. Now coming in from the bottom, I've got great visibility and it's up close and I can really control what I'm taking off. As far as running it, it bounces you all over the place. Skid steer's a rough ride. Let's go ahead and run the tractor and see how it compares. I'm excited to do this with like 6 different tractors this week. For this, I'm going to use the exact same bucket, and any tractor I use that can handle this bucket will use this bucket. All right, now we're going to try it with the tractor. And keep in mind, I have less experience running this shuttle shift tractor, so part of any struggle it has will be operator error.
A tractor this size has a lot more power than I'm used to from my little tractor, but it still has some of the same limitations in that you can't grade with it nearly as easily. It's harder to tell whether or not you're level with your bucket. And when you run into resistance, your tires are going to dig holes. And then on your next pass, you're driving through those holes. So it's not a task that this machine is really made to specialize in. And I never ran out of power, but there are times as I work on this where I run out of traction. Now, having more weight on the tractor would help because these tires aren't loaded and it does have wheel weights, but by loading the tires you could get a little bit more traction. So if I'm telling you this is not an ideal job for this type of tractor, why am I trying it? And the answer to that is I don't have attachments sized to this tractor. So I wanted to try something. So I did a little brush cutting, I did a lift capacity test, and now we're digging. And that's the best I could come up with. I'm taking this dirt quite a ways with each load, and that made me think that the tractor would be faster than the skid steer. But that's not how it worked out, because with every load, I am dropping it down into low range and low gear to push into this pile. And then I have to stop and switch it into a higher gear. And it often takes me 2 tries to get the bucket full. So because of that, part of which is inexperience on my part, the result is I was actually slower with the tractor. Now in a short area, I would have assumed the tractor would be slower, but carrying it a long distance, I thought it would work out the other way.
Alright, so what's my takeaway from this? One thing is, it's not what that machine's meant to do. That's not what it's designed for. I don't think when they build a machine like that, the biggest thing they focus on is the loader. Whereas the skid steer is meant to move dirt. That's what it's designed for. The machine is designed around the boom functionality, and it just is better for this. But that was to be expected. Now if we go out and we try to disc up a field or mow, say we had 49 acres to mow like I did in that one video, then you'll see where that tractor shines over a skid steer. The other thing is, there's a learning curve to everything, and I haven't been through the learning curve on that tractor. And it was all about me getting the hang of it to do a better job of it. And I actually didn't even do 30 minutes like I said I was going to, because it's not my tractor. And I thought what I'm doing, the work I'm doing right now, would be the type of work that's hard on a machine. So I took their bucket off so I didn't scratch up their bucket, and I put my bucket on it. But I thought, you know, I don't want to push it too far. I did dig at this for 20 minutes. It was a little bit slower because I would have to stop and shift gears. Even though the machine travels faster, I'd have to stop to shift. And one thing that should be very obvious is, or what I found out, is you don't want to use your foot throttle. I use the foot throttle most of the time when I'm driving. So if I want to stop, I just let off that foot throttle and hit the clutch. But on this, you're going to kill the tractor if you try to push into this at low idle. And if you decide to take your foot off and put it on the brake or anything, you're going to kill the tractor. So I learned that you want to use the hand throttle to increase your RPMs. I was going low range, speed 2, so second gear, with the hand throttle all the way up, and did a pretty decent job. Tell you too, that machine doesn't stop. Like if you got that in creep gear like I did, and you got the hand throttle up, it would drive itself right up that straight up bank and just keep going, I think. So it was fun. It was a good learning experience for me to do something different. And every time I run that New Holland, I wish I was keeping it. But that one right there is too big for me. It's too big for the fact that I like to do a lot of moving rock and dirt and stuff like that. Anyway, I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.